So I'm making this video to follow up with the last post I made about my roommate getting jacked by U.S. Marshals. I'm going to post a collage of pictures here in a minute along with the video. And this started last night when I heard noise from my neighbor screaming, "I'm in pain, someone help me." So we went outside, me and my roommate, and there was already cops there at his door, and they pointed a light at us so that we could not see them or film them, and they shouted at us right away, commanding, "Go back inside." And so I called the non-emergency number to see what was going on, and they said, "Oh, you're not in danger." And I'm like, well, if there's a raid or these cops are standing on somebody's neck next door, they need to know that they're being documented. We're watching them, we're recording, taking pictures and videos through the window. And then I went back outside and the cops were gone and it was quiet. So then today, I'm asleep. I work nights, so I was sleeping during the day, and my roommate left in his car, and on his way out of the driveway, these U.S. Marshals pulled up and they dragged him out of the car and tackled him and took his keys. They were asking him, "Hey, are you Eric?" And that's his name. But they were saying he matched the description of someone else. So they already knew who he was, but they said they jumped him and detained him because they thought he was someone else. But they already knew who he was, according to their own words. And so I wake up because I hear on a loudspeaker, "We're just trying to check on you, sir. Just come out." And I'm like, oh, there's a raid going on next door. This is probably that guy that they were looking for last night. And so the word on the street is that this guy is supposedly suicidal, and they were allegedly coming to Baker Act him, but maybe he has some other warrants or whatever. But it sounds like something sketchy could have happened the previous night when these cops were there. It sounds like he was getting strangled while he was getting arrested. And so if anything happened to him, I would look into that Tallahassee Police Department sergeant who responded to that call. Because when they heard that they were being observed, they bailed and they pulled off to the Winn-Dixie parking lot around the corner. So, to bring you back up to speed on current events, landlady was outside, neighbors were outside, the cops had weapons drawn, and I have pictures that I'll upload. I called the U.S. Marshals Trump's hit squad, and then they, decided they didn't want to be a part of this botched raid anymore, and they bailed. But this was after they had already yanked my roommate. So at this point, we were trying to leave so that we were not near if they did start shooting through the walls. And I put on my medic backpack and some clothes and gloves, and we walked out the back door and went around the back way off the property and went across the street to observe and record. And at least 24 undercover police vehicles pulled up, all makes and models, foreign and domestic models, and this is in America and Florida. And they clogged the road, and they were pulling in and out of this place on a downhill road. There's 2 lanes. People were starting to slow down and rubberneck and look at all these cops stacked up with tactical gear and weapons. And they have weapons drawn for a mental health call. And at that point, I had gone into the park to create some more space between me and Eric, and he had come back. He had been released. He'd come back to the apartment. We walked over across the street to the park, and while we're there, I hear screeching tires and a crash, so I come running out, and sure enough, all of these cops in the road caused a traffic accident, and a bystander who was driving by hit another person, supposedly. I didn't see the accident. I just walked up and I saw a wounded lady standing outside her car, and I treated the patient, and then I passed them off to more skilled emergency medical services. And I personally believe that happened because of these cops screwing around here, being hyper aggressive, harassing the neighbors, harassing my roommate, harassing me when I called to ask about it. The dispatch guy actually accused me of being up to no good and said I should turn myself in. And I was like, I haven't committed a crime. I'm calling you guys to see if there's a shooting about to erupt next door so that I should know whether or not I can leave the property. Because when my roommate tried to leave the property, he got piled on by U.S. Marshals, who have a bad reputation right now for killing people on behalf of the president's tweets. So that's what's going on. That's what happened with this scenario. And the other people in the other car were injured too, just not as bad as the one who had to go to the hospital in an ambulance. So that's what's going on. I'm going to post a collage of images with this video. And if you have any questions, let me know. Stay safe, do medical training, and help each other.